Welcome to Jude, the podcast. This is David Jude, your host for the show. Welcome back. Thanks for listening and all the things that go with your time and energy to listen to our show and our episodes. I really appreciate it. Another exciting episode for us, I hope. Anyway, I think so. I'm excited for today. With us is our longtime friend, Kenny Dietrich. Ugly Tent, I guess, is where I would say. So I hope that's still the right
that's
way
my
to
brain.
say that. I'll say this, Kenny, you've been a longtime friend of well, just not just me. We've been friends for a lifetime almost at this point.
Yeah, that's what I consider it a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could go way back for those type of things. But anyway, for this episode, we're at our fall conference, the Professional Investigators of Kentucky. That's an association that got started a few years back. And so not just a personal friend of mine, but you've been a great friend of the association and our members for that. So
I'm glad to be back. Thanks for having me back.
heck yeah. So this is, I guess, our third conference, and you've been part of all three, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think that's right.
I'm trying to think of
Vendor one.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then,
gosh, I was thinking it was just two, but it has been three.
yeah, this is the third one.
Awesome.
And a highly requested, I will add, presenter for our conference this year. So
That always makes you feel good.
it does. Makes me feel good to be able to share that with you. That our member said, yeah, man, if we want anybody back, it's Kenny. So he's got a lot to share with you. And to be honest, I don't remember exactly what the topic was last year. I think it's
Same thing, preparedness.
Yeah.
So extreme survival preparedness. So worst case scenario. So like if you're in your vehicle and you have to walk home, if you get stranded on the road,
yeah,
whether car breaks down or there's a riot, protesters shut down the interstate, whatever it is, something like that.
Yeah.
And you have to get home. Just talking about basic preparedness, whether it's in the office, whether it's in your car, that's, and I was really worried about the first year I spoke on how I was going to bring value to the association. I was like, what can I offer these guys? Because these guys and gals, because they're already trained or have been trained. Most of them are prior law enforcement. But if nothing else, it's always a good refresher. But there's a lot of material that I covered that people didn't understand or didn't know. They just weren't. I'm so used to doing it. It's just part of my daily life. And
yeah, it's your world.
Yeah, it's my world.
And our world has been, for those of us that were prior law enforcement, our world is, there'd be some overlap, but I think the overlap, that's going to say that the wrong way. I was getting ready to say the overlap actually highlights why you're so important to us. It's not dealing with the incident. I think our people are
right,
well trained and equipped and thought out to say, I've got an issue. I can handle the issue. That's not really where I see your value. What I've learned over the last couple of years from you in regards to the preparedness is what happens if I'm stuck on the road, or there's a lot of other things that I don't think about from day to day,
right,
where your training comes in handy. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure what we'll get into here, but for example, I always call it a go bag. I know there's other terms for it, but that's just my term for it. Anytime I'm on the road, I carry that. It's in the truck now. Yeah. And so what I've taken from you is what I think are the basics is food, fire, shelter, and water.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think often, there's been many times traveling on the parkway, the interstates, that you get stuck. Yeah. For most of us, we're working cases year round. And so I get back to say, man, what would happen if you were to wreck or to, who knows what would happen?
Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what, one of the things I always preach is you're not going to rise to the occasion. You're going to fall to your level of training. Yeah. So the more prepared you are and the more you're used to dealing with your gear, what you have in your vehicle or whatever, the more you're adjusted to that or familiar with that, the better off you're going to be. So, and it's also a peace of mind. Those go bags, you may not use it for a year or two, and then you may use it 2 or 3 times a year. keep going back to it and grabbing pieces of it. Oh, I need this, I need that for something, whether it's, a camping trip or there is an emergency. You pull up to an incident on the road, maybe there's a wreck or something, and you're like, oh, I need to grab the tourniquet out of my trauma kit or whatever, whatever you're using. It's always good to have that in there. It's always good to know it's there. It's that peace of mind, and it's that survival mindset.
Well, yeah, and I think, so along those lines, I look at it to say, let's just say there's a wreck on the interstate. Been to a million of those things, right? I haven't worked them in a long time, but I feel very confident today that if I rolled up on a wreck on the interstate, I know what to do at the wreck scene.
Sure.
I know how to manage that. What I don't know how to manage is, let's say you're a mile back and stuck traffic, or the interstate shut down for winter weather or whatever. Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario that happens. What I'm never prepared for is what happens if you're stuck.
Yeah.
It seems like these type of topics that you get into the idea of, well, that'll never happen to me, or it's no big deal until it does happen for you.
Yeah.
And so that's really what I've taken away, is to say, hang on, man, you may be stuck in your car. Mm-hmm. And I have worked those times when the interstates are shut down and people are stuck in their cars.
Yeah. Just like the sniper on, was it 75?
That's right.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then you think about the people in North Carolina through all the flooding. I mean, they probably never thought that was going to happen.
That's right.
Well, just like in Kentucky too. All these storms that veer off course and come up through eastern Kentucky or come up through, the southern part of Kentucky and devastate the land. A lot of people never think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Or you think I'll just get off at the next exit.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? You just never consider the idea that, I don't know, some of Kentucky is pretty rural.
Yeah.
Get to western Kentucky, and some of those parts you better have gotten gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I recently went on a road trip to Arkansas, and I'd never been that direction before. And I forgot what time of day. It wasn't overnight. It was still in daylight hours. But what I took away is, well, you used to live in that area, in the Memphis area, right?
Yes. Rough area.
Yeah.
It can be. I mean, not all of it, but
no, that's right.
I mean, it doesn't take long to get off the beaten path.
Yeah.
One wrong turn and you're like, well, how did I get here? And everybody will tell you that.
Yeah.
There's parts that you just don't go.
Well, so up until Memphis and West Memphis, which I correct my geography, but West Memphis is in Arkansas, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Up until that point, there was civilization.
Yeah.
You're just driving through Tennessee, or at least I was at that time. Yeah. Plenty of exits. And it'd be easy to fall into that trap of saying, I'll just get off at the next exit, right, and all those things. But when I got out of West Memphis, suddenly there was nothing.
Yeah.
It's just agriculture through that land. Fortunately, I had gas and stuff, but you still got to stop and use the restroom or stretch your legs, whatever you need to do. And that was my joke when I got to that particular place, is to say, glad I had gas, because I don't know where you would find gas sometimes.
Right.
Part of it is my ignorance. I don't know the area, right? But that highlights the point to say, well, what if something were to happen there? I mean, it's miles to the next exit.
And that brings up the point too, like our GPS and our technology will take us these places, even though we don't know they're not supposed to be there. And, with search and rescue that I do, there's a lot of people that find themselves in predicaments because they saw it on Instagram. They saw an Instagram post where someone climbed to the top of this rock and, hey, I want to do that.
Right.
Well, you can find it. You can find the location and go to it. But that doesn't mean you should be there.
Right.
So they end up getting in trouble, getting hurt, getting lost. And because it's easy to get there, but getting back or staying safe, that's another issue. And that's the same way with traveling, and your GPS.
Yeah.
It'll take you anywhere, but maybe you don't want to be there.
Yeah. And I think maybe it's easier to think about, I don't know if that's fair or not, but it may be easier to think about my personal safety. Like, what do I need to carry with me to ensure Well, what I'm talking about is, do I need a gun with me, or,
Right.
Is my cell phone charged, and those type of things.
Which I've incorporated the cell phone a lot more in this next presentation.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to make it more for in layman's terms. I'm not going to bring out a map and compass and show you how to use a map and compass, because you're probably not going to use that.
Right.
And it's not practical, and it's a diminishing skill, so you're going to forget what I taught you a couple weeks from now. But if I show you something with a cell phone that you use every day and show you how this works in an emergency scenario, or how this can be worked, you can use this as a compass to find your way, that's going to stick with you a lot better.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Exciting.
it's more practical.
Well, that's right. Anyway, so that's what I took away, is to say it's not so much about having a gun with me or something else. It's about, well, what if I am stuck?
Yeah.
What if I do wreck? Can I make it to the next morning?
Yeah.
And those type of things. So anyway, for me in my bag, I try to cover those 4 things. Of course, you never know until you get there, but I'll just say that your teachings and your time with me and instruction have been not for nothing, because I've loaded up my stuff to say food, fire, shelter, and water.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
The only thing I probably don't have in there is a bottle of water. And I always try to convince myself you got to stop and put the fresh water in there so that you have those things. But I keep that stuff with me all the time. But
most people have water or a drink or something with them. I mean, if you're on a trip, you're probably going to have something with you. So more than likely you'll be okay.
I think it'd be hard for me to boil Diet Coke for a for a bag of rice or something.
You'd be surprised what you could do. I mean, if you've ever eaten an MRE, then you know that you can eat anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
I keep saying Diet Coke needs to sponsor me. So if you guys are listening down there, well, we need to do that.
Yeah.
But
so I go to the flea market and get my military surplus from a guy, and he's very unique.
Yeah.
Matt, if you're listening, I'm not digging on you. I'm just, you're a good guy, but and he was talking about, he said he had an MRE for lunch the other day. I said, on purpose? I'm like, why would you do that?
Trying to get to the gum or
yeah. Like,
the chocolate and crackers.
He's like, all of them. I'm like, okay. I mean, they're great if you're camping or in the woods or backpacking.
Right.
Well, actually, they're too heavy to backpack anyway, but just to eat it at work. And I guess there are some good pieces to an MRE, like the pound cakes are really good.
Yeah.
They're horrible for you. They're just nothing but carbs and chemicals, but they're tasty. So,
it just needs to keep you going to the next stop.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, they'll keep you from going. Yeah. That's why the gum's in there. The gum's full of laxatives and stuff because of the man. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does a good deal. He gives me good deals. What he'll do is he'll go to, sorry, this is kind of off subject.
No, it's great.
He'll go to these big auctions, and he'll buy pallets full of military surplus. Well, 80% of it's junk.
Right.
Or stuff I don't want.
Right.
For the website or whatever. So then I'll go in and pick through, hey, I need 2 of these assault bags and, 1 tarp and whatever, and he'll make me a deal on them. So it works out great.
Yeah.
I feel guilty sometimes, but he don't care. He's making his money.
No, he's having a good time. That's why he's doing it.
And he is. He's retired, and this is his retirement plan. Work, and he's making cash hand over fist. He's doing great.
He's got the right idea.
He does.
Yeah.
But he'll talk about Bigfoot and
yeah. You believe in Bigfoot?
No, I don't. Of all the conspiracy theories I believe in, Bigfoot's not one of them. I hate to say that because there's a lot of people out there like they really believe in Bigfoot. But,
yeah.
And there's probably something out there.
You just think we'd have seen it already?
Yeah. With all the hunters and trail cams and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We'd already seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a friend, and Chad, if you're listening, this is a nod to you, but he responded to a call on an interstate one time of people hunting Bigfoot, Bigfoot, Bigfoots.
Yeah.
And that's an odd call to get, right?
Yeah.
But these were, I'm sure I'm messing up the story, but I'll take some creative liberty to embellish as I can here. But like special forces guys.
Oh yeah, they taking it serious then, weren't they?
Yeah, they'd made a business of it, of sorts. But anyway, the funny part of the call was a lady made a blueberry pie or something like that, and the pie was gone. And
it went missing.
Yeah, it went missing. So it was Bigfoot, got hungry.
That's funny.
But anyway, this team got called, and sure enough, they're on the side of the interstate somewhere, and
that's crazy.
Out in the woods hunting Bigfoot.
I never thought about it as a business model. Wonder how much money is made on Bigfoot. You see all these, how much money is made on whatever subject.
Yeah.
I wonder what that'd be. That's interesting.
I don't know.
So they don't want Bigfoot to get caught. It's just like,
now we're onto something.
Yeah.
They don't want the Bigfoot to get caught.
Yeah.
Mystery be over.
Yeah. See, I recently took a job.
Healthcare.
Yeah. Well, I just recently took a job with the state as a caseworker, and I have come to the realization that some companies view homeless people as a product.
Oh, sure.
And that was an eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
Because they're people, and they need help. I mean, I never really had a good outlook on homeless people before, but now that I'm working with them, there's a lot of mental issues. There's a lot of substance abuse issues. These people need help they're not getting. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Sure.
That's not the state's opinion. That's my opinion. But it's been a real eye-opener,
Yeah. I've said it for a long time. I don't know where the light bulb came on for me for that. But humans are commodities.
Yeah.
We're just a commodity moving through life, and to whatever company, whatever thing we're talking about, you're just a commodity at times.
Yeah.
So,
well, you got a community that has, say, 150 homeless people, and then you got, $2 million in grants coming in for homeless to one agency, and then this other 501c3 is getting $400,000, and you're like, we've only got 150.
Yeah.
How surely we can help them with the money we've got. But it just keeps coming in. The money just keeps coming in, and again, it brings in more homeless people. That's what
the resources are.
They know, and they'll show up.
Yeah.
And then your homeless community grows from 150 to 200, and then before you know it's 300, and it's crazy.
Yeah. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I have thought of it from the employment, and those grants keep people employed, and people at work, and kids in school, and all the activities and all those things. But I hadn't thought of it from that way.
Well, it's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We got off topic there just a second. But
that's all right.
That's fun. Yeah. It's a good conversation. All right. Let's get back to emergency preparedness. So you don't have to teach the class tonight, but what are we talking about? I mean, what are you bringing to us this time?
So we're going to talk about your tier 1 bag, which is your everyday carry, tier 2 bags, which is your go bags, like you're talking about, get home safe bag or get home bag. Not necessarily a bug out bag, because that gets into more long term, but just something to keep in your vehicle to get home. Talk about your basics, taking care of yourself, your self-defense, your mental well-being, the survival mindset. And for me, that's been very important through my illness. Last time we talked, I don't think I had enough answers on my lung condition. But now that I know that what my lung condition is, I realize that my survival mindset has kept me going, and I've actually done a lot better because of that. I'm doing better than the average person.
Yeah.
I'm not their average. The doctors are frustrated with me because I'm not the average patient. We getting some feedback.
Yeah, I'm maybe from the computer.
Okay. But anyway, so they're frustrated with me because I won't do what they say. We're going to get on my healthcare or my wellness journey. They want me to take all these medicines, and I won't take them. I'm like, I don't want to take that yet. Let's just wait a little bit, and I'll keep this short. But I firmly believe it's because of my survival mindset, all these years practicing and training myself, whether I'm playing in the woods or now it's real life. That survival mindset has kept me going.
I mean, that's a good point, right, that you're bringing up here that we should spend a minute on. We opened the show talking about being stuck or some incident happening that requires this knowledge to be in place. But that's not so much what you're saying. The knowledge can be put into your everyday life.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, everyday life. So, this goes back to my family, and I talked about this the first time I was on with you. My grandparents were, and my dad were refugees from Russia.
Yeah.
They have the ultimate survival story. They have an incredible story. Even my dad, now I didn't know this at the time, last time I was on, but I recently discovered that my dad was actually blown up in a wagon. He was actually an infant riding in a wagon. Bomb hit, blew the wagon up. Couldn't find him for hours, and they finally found him, and he lived through that. Anyway, long story short, my family's always been survivors, and they carried over to me. And I don't want to say I was always playing survivor, but now that I'm in a situation where every day I'm fighting for my health, fighting for my life. Now I'm in survival mode all the time, and it's because of that. I'm a firm believer it's because of that and my faith that I am where I am today and not 6 feet under.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly so. I mean, you're a living testament to what you're teaching.
Yeah, I try between the survival and the breath work.
Yeah, that's right. So as you talk about emergency preparedness and that unknown scenario, then it's not just a series of products. It's not just a series of things you shove in your car or a bag. There's a lot more to that.
Right. Yeah, that's just one of the products, the gear. That's the fun side of it.
Right.
But learning to work with your gear, and then after you learn to work with your gear, you learn what gear you don't need to carry anymore. You learn what gear you can do away with, what gear you can, minimize.
I think that's almost as big of a topic as what to carry.
Yeah. So the more you know, the less you carry. And I say this all the time, and I mean it. I can make shoelaces out of tree bark. And every time I say that, people either laugh or they're like, yeah, whatever. But, there's a way to take the inner layer of the tree bark, pull it all like poplar bark, make it pliable and twist it and braid it, and you can make a piece of cordage. And if you had to make a shoelace out of it, you could.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of a silly analogy, or a representation, but, that's where you can go with this. You can go as far as not having to carry all this gear, make your own. It just depends on what you want to do with it, but it's that mindset. It's that continually evolving and adapting and always learning. You know. And something else I've added to my my life has been the exercise. So I do a lot more exercise, including mixed martial arts. So I started doing that weekly with my brother. It's been fantastic. Now I can't do as much as I did when I was younger, but my instructor, my sensei, is willing to work with me. He's an older man. Yeah. He's going to turn 70.
Oh, wow.
And he's just fantastic. And he understands. There's times where I have to take a break to catch my breath, and he's like, okay, it's fine. But I push. I push every week that I'm at martial arts, I'm pushing, and I just got my third belt. So I'm
very nice.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
Yeah, that's a nice benchmark.
Yeah. And that's what I love about the form we're taking. It's a traditional Japanese karate, Shotokan. So there's the traditional side of it, the katas, the etiquette, the forms, all that. And then at the second hour, he mixes it up, whether it's jiu-jitsu or tai chi or weapons or whatever. So it keeps it mixed up and makes it more fun.
Yeah.
But having that, like you said, that benchmark, earning the belts is a good way to gauge where I'm at and where I'm going.
Yeah.
It gives me something to strive for.
So how would you relate that, like to our class that you're presenting to? How do you relate those things, right? Because I've never had those classes, but what's your lesson there for those listening?
That's a good question. So for me, it's just always pushing and always learning and not getting stagnant, not getting comfortable. I could easily be comfortable sitting at home watching TV or doing something else that night, and relaxing. Yeah. But pushing it for me is what's keeping me going. It's like we talked about, it's goals. It's keeping your body moving. Motion is lotion. Keep those joints going, keep my lungs moving. So I know now that I have to do it. And I guess what I would ask the class is there something you're missing? Is there something, because last time I talked to you guys and gals, I said, I brought up fitness. I brought up different things to add to what are you missing from your survival plan? And for me, it was literally, I said I wanted to either start doing martial arts or verbal judo or learn a second language.
Yeah.
Those are the three things that always pop in my mind. And I did. Since the last time I saw you, I started taking the mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, if I come back, if you guys have me back,
yeah,
which I'd be honored to come back.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have added learning a second language, but I just always be learning, always be pushing and trying to better yourself.
Now, and then you're saying that relates into this
survival mindset, because you're always pushing yourself to learn or to do different things. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
To adapt. So part of survival is adaptation. So by always learning something new, you're learning to adapt. You're training, you're learning to adapt and overcome. You're learning to push yourself beyond what you think your limits are.
Yeah. So you're thinking about hiring a private investigator, huh? Think knowledge, experience, and trust. Think DPJ Consulting. Listen, we're the folks you want on your team. Whether it's a criminal matter, corporate, or administrative issue, or maybe something more personal, you need to make the right choice for you. Our house of expertise at DPJ Consulting can help you with investigations, and that can mean a whole lot of different things. Pre-employment background checks, personal VIP security, and so much more. Check us out at dpjconsulting.com. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, or give us a call at 855-TEAM-DPJ. That's 855-TEAM-DPJ. Give us a call. It costs nothing to talk. It costs you everything if we don't. So what would be your guidance or your I guess your counsel there for the average person, right?
Start small. So that's one reason I love breath work, because you can do breath work from your kitchen table and it'll give you more energy to get up from the kitchen table and do more, like go start walking again or start exercising or something like that. So I always tell people small victories. There's a young lady I work with who I absolutely love. Her name's Casey. If she ever listens to this, shout out to Casey. I hired in with two young ladies, Casey and Abby, and they've just been wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love them. I'm so glad I hired in with them because we've grown together in the job, and it's just been great. But Casey's really trying to change her life. She's quit smoking since she started.
Yeah.
Quit vaping.
Yeah.
She's quit drinking. She's on a wellness journey. I mean, since we started in June, this girl has done so much to make herself better. And I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
And
those are huge steps.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, she really is. And that's what she asked me. She said, when I first met you, your attitude was just amazing because I thought you were newlywed and I thought you had a new puppy. And I said, well, why did you think that? She said, because you talk about your wife like you're all newlyweds.
Yeah.
And you talk about your dog like he's a puppy. You talk about Apollo like he's just he's 6 years old.
Yeah.
Well,
but he's a puppy.
Yeah, he's just a puppy. But anyway, and she said, I thought that was just amazing that you could have that attitude.
Yeah.
And she said, what advice would you give me? And I told her, I said, make your bed every day.
Yeah.
Start with that. Just start something small.
Yeah.
It's a easy victory. You get up, get out of bed, make your bed. You feel good. It looks good. It's a small victory to start your day off with, and then you can build from there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she is taking you to heart and doing that.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Those are big steps that she's already accomplished in 4, 5, 6 months.
She'll do great things.
Yeah, that's right. Good.
Yeah.
So speaking of teaching others and mentoring others, you're not just here with us at the conference coming once a year to talk to us. I mean, you've been busy sharing your knowledge a lot of places.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this.
I shared my survival and breath work with Kentucky State Police Wellness Retreat. That was last year. I'm trying to think when the end of last year, right after the conference with you guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then I've been to Marathon Refinery, shared with them. I've done a lot of survival classes with some of the bigger survival instructors like Sean Kelly from Corporal's Corner and Jake Trent from Buckeye Bushcraft. Those guys are amazing. I mean, I say this every time about Sean Kelly. He's got over like 1 million followers on YouTube, and he's just amazing. But when you hear him teach, it's a different level. I mean, I take notes. Yeah. I'm an instructor. I'm in the back of the class taking notes. And he knows his stuff. He really does. So shout out to Sean for doing a good job. Excellent job.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, he is kind of abrasive, and, he's a former Marine, so he can come across rough sometimes.
Yeah.
But, man, he's good. He is just absolutely, he's amazing. So I think I said former Marine, right? It's either ex-Marine or former Marine. One of them means they're dead, and the other one means I can never remember which one's which.
Yeah, I'll get that mixed up, too. I don't want to insult anybody.
So, sorry, Marines, if I said it wrong. I was trying to do you justice. But anyway, Sean does an excellent job. So I've been teaching with him when the opportunity presents. I've been doing a lot of local stuff, trail life stuff, with which is kind of like Boy Scouts, but it's through church, basically. Right. Churches, local churches. So I've been asked to speak there, do presentations. And I've done... I did a presentation at the women's group. It was the Republican counties women's group, something,
Yeah.
That one I was really nervous about. It was kind of like, what can I offer? What am I going to offer these ladies here?
Yeah.
Man, they were taking notes, and it was awesome. They were awesome.
So I remember you telling me about that, and I think that's really interesting, right? Because as we're doing the show, and I would relate it some to the folks of our association, but I don't even think that's fair to the people listening to this, right? And we don't know what level of knowledge they have on emergency preparedness.
Right.
That ladies group to me was very interesting because it's a group of folks of women, who would have no knowledge of this,
right?
And I've done a lot of classes myself too, not in this world and other worlds, and you don't know what your audience knows,
right?
And you're not sure how to prepare for it. Excuse me. So it does create a little bit of anxiety going into that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to push you to go a little bit further with that. I mean, you were saying they were taking notes.
Yeah, they were asking questions, relevant questions. Could you go a little deeper on the bug out bag, or go a little deeper on the food storage at home? Whatever the subject we were talking about. And they were really asking some good questions.
Yeah.
Kind of like you're doing today.
Right.
Really drilling, getting the good stuff out.
Yeah.
And they were amazing. And I learned a lot about myself in my presentation because of them too.
Right.
And I came up with some ideas. I hate to say I didn't really follow through with them like I should, but they gave me some really good ideas.
Well, life and work gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
but we're circling back to that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Now the guys that you taught with, the gentleman you spoke of that said, big followers and stuff.
Yeah.
Now that was a pretty big class, right? I mean, that's just not something like, can you run down to the chamber and talk for 10 minutes?
Oh, no. Yeah. That's 3-day class. Yeah. We were teaching wilderness survival skills. And you spend the night in the woods as your final, the night of, and you build the shelters, you build the fires, build signal fires, gather water, treat the water. I mean, it's a whole process. So everything that you learn for the first 2 days, you put together that evening, the last evening into the third day, So we have people that don't always finish the class because of issues or health reasons. And actually that's the role I've taken, a lot like search and rescue. I can't do the ground pounding I used to do, so I'm more of the camp dad. I watch over, make sure people aren't getting sick. I do a lot of paperwork. I do a lot of processing. And while Sean and Jake are teaching, or whoever's with us, I'll keep an eye on the class and say, hey, this person's falling behind because he's got knee problems, or he's an older gentleman.
Yeah.
So
I'd also add in there, you're being a little bit humble, I think, too, in your approach. I mean, there's a lot of people that could have been chosen to do the administrative tasks of that class. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of people that could fill that role.
Yeah.
Right. But you're selected to be in that role because
Yeah.
of your knowledge, and you were selected to be in that role.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
And I teach other parts. I teach the search and rescue and signaling, some of the things that I'm familiar with. Because Sean doesn't have any search and rescue experience, where I've got going on 7 years of it.
right.
So I teach that part of the class, and then he takes them out in the field and they implement a lot of signaling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I just wanted to touch on the idea that it's just not a class. It's just not something that you've been invited to come over to talk. It's that particular class is pretty significant if I recall correctly.
yes, yeah,
and it takes a level of commitment.
yes, it does.
To attend and to complete that class. So that's a big deal.
Right.
And if I remember right, maybe I didn't.
No, you're correct.
If I remember right, you were chosen to be part of that team.
Yes, they asked me to be part.
That's right.
And they've asked me back for more classes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and again, it's more of a camp dad role, but that's okay. I'm not happy with that, but they know my value. And that's the great thing of the people I work with is that they all know each other's values. We know where we're strong and that's the part that you get to teach, where your strong suits are. So
I was going to say, isn't that part of the whole idea of preparedness is knowing what you're strong in, weak in, and SWOT analysis or whatever it is, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and T.
What is T? Teach? No.
Training, maybe?
Training.
Yeah.
Teach one. Was it learn one, teach one, learn one, do one, teach one, something like that?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. So, all right for that. I think that that's also something, before I forget, because I'm afraid I'm going to forget some of the things I want to talk about, is that you're available to teach those classes, whatever your expertise happens to be.
Yes.
So if people are listening to this and they say, I never really thought about that. I never thought about how this mindset would pertain to our company or to our group or whatever.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're available to.
Yeah. Even all the way from executive survival down to the women's group. I mean, kids groups, you name it, churches, organizations, anybody that's willing to learn about preparedness, about survival preparedness or worst case scenario, natural disaster preparedness, anything along the preparedness lines. I would love to come along and share or teach.
Always felt like or I still feel this way, for those that haven't sat through your classes or being able to share your knowledge. I always feel like this topic gets lumped into like Survivor, the TV show or something.
Or Doomsday Prepper.
Yeah, Doomsday Prepper or, after the big hurricane hits or whatever else.
Yeah.
And so they lump it into this.
And not trying to throw shade on some of these other survival instructors, but a lot of guys, their egos get in the way and they don't want to teach certain things because it's not sexy. They want to teach certain topics because basic preparedness at home is not as sexy as basic wilderness survival, Yeah. And I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to sit down with the old ladies group or the old men's group or whatever.
Right.
And teach them and share with them this is what's important. This is what you need to know. This other stuff that you're seeing on YouTube or seeing whatever, you don't need to know. It's fluff, and you need to know what's important, and that's what I'm sharing with the people.
Well, and I think that's one. I think that's why you're back for your third year with us. Also, back on doing another episode with us is because I'm making this up. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I don't need to know how to rappel down a rock face because I don't think I'm going to be there.
Right.
I'm more concerned with how do I stay warm and dry tonight?
Yes.
And then learn maybe signaling or something like that to help me get help or what to do in that situation.
Yes.
So for me, I find value as someone who doesn't have your knowledge of, I don't need to know the specialty stuff. I need to know the basic thing.
Right.
And that's where I think this magic is that I don't think a lot of people have that base level, right?
Yeah.
Like the women's group.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
It pertains to them.
Yeah.
They don't need to know how to rappel down a rock face.
No.
To me, that's where I think your magic comes in. And I think that's why it resonated with our group so much is I think it's easy to dismiss the topic, the title of the topic to say, I'm not going to be
Right.
scaling El Capitan or whatever, but you don't think about where this actually
could lead to
or play in at. So I think
good. That's good stuff.
I think you have a real place there, and I just want to make sure that people know that you're available and able to come talk to their groups.
Yeah. Just go to uglytent.com or email me at, do I want to give my email out? Yeah, I should. Yeah, uglytent@gmail.com.
Yeah, there you go.
That's probably the best way to get hold of me.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the second thing you're going to talk to us too, and maybe it's part of the same thing, but stop the bleed.
Yes.
What is that?
So this goes back to what we were just saying. Stop the bleed is a layman's trauma training. Basically, it's just a dumbed down version of what you need to know if things go really bad and there's severe bleeding, gunshot wound, need a tourniquet, that kind of stuff. So I think everyone should take the Stop the Bleed class, and everyone should be an instructor, because once you take the class, you can apply to be an instructor. And the best way to learn this is to teach it. And it's made for the layperson. It's made for anybody to be able to understand and be able to apply. You know what I'm saying? To use this actual. You're not, like, if you're in the wilderness, let's say, and people say, "Well, I need to learn how to do stitches, or I need to carry a suture kit." Well, why would you need that? If you're having to give yourself stitches like Rambo, things have gone really, really bad. And have you ever done stitches? Have you ever given yourself sutures?
No.
Have you ever, so you don't need to know that. But now let's talk about pressure dressing. That's something that you're going to need to know, that you can use, and that's easy to understand.
Yeah.
Same thing with tourniquet. Tourniquets are easy to understand. And when Stop the Bleed, it goes into detail about them, when to put them on, when to use them, and we even have the training aids. I was telling you about that little arm we got that it bleeds. Actually, I just put water through it. I don't want to use the red syrup, and then you see how tight you have to tighten a tourniquet. Not, you can try it on yourself, but you don't want to get it too tight, because you can, it's painful.
Mm-hmm.
But with the training aids, you can see how much pressure you need on the pressure dressing, or how much gauze you need to pack in a wound, or how tight that tourniquet needs to be. So I think for the average person, everyday person, Stop the Bleed is the best training out there. I think it's better than CPR training, in my opinion.
Well, I was getting ready to ask. So is it just a different version of first aid? Is it just a different version of first aid, or what is it?
So it's trauma first aid. It's not really, how do I explain this? I better learn this before I teach this, huh? So it talks about, and what I have to do is, I have a book as an instructor. I have to read PowerPoint by PowerPoint to keep it legal, because I'm not licensed as a medical professional. I don't claim to be. And again, we're back to, that's why this is such a good program, because you don't have to be an EMT or a physician or a paramedic to be able to teach this or understand it.
Right.
So it's just talking about bleeding, Stop the Bleed. So it's talking about anything from lacerations to gunshot wounds to, losing a limb, when to apply pressure dressing, compression, when to apply the tourniquet. It goes through all these steps and tells you basically what you need to know about trauma, treating trauma patients. So
is it a certification class?
Yeah, you can get it.
For the students going through it, is it suddenly you're certified?
No, it's not really it's not like CPR where you're, you can get a certificate at the end of the class if you want. And I don't know how much continuing education it's worth it just depends on the agency. It's not much.
We are so glad to have Ugly Tent as a sponsor to the show. My longtime friend Kenny Dietrich is a subject matter expert in modern survival, bushcrafting, and preparedness. As he challenges us on the show, be prepared for the disaster most likely to happen to you. But let me tell you, Ugly Tent is so much more than just disaster preparedness. you need to check out the website at uglytent.com. That's UGLYTENT.com for a complete list of their products, their classes, and all the services that Kenny offers. There's a lot that I think you'll find interesting at uglytent.com. Again, just a neat place to go. So whether it's for camping, maybe it's a hike, maybe it's just trying to be in the outdoors for a little bit, uglytent.com is filled with the products and the services that you want. Not to mention you have a true expert as a resource for you. Listen, while you're there, use the promo code JUDE, that's lowercase JUDE, and that code will get you 10% off your total purchase. That's a pretty good deal for some really cool stuff. Anyway, check out Kenny at uglytent.com. Well, I hear you. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
What I was trying to ask is, it seems to me, this is just my opinion, that several years ago, as we're young professionals coming into it, you had to be certified in CPR and certified in first aid, and you had different levels of these things. And I always felt that was polarizing.
Yes.
And I always found that...
and it's also a money grab.
Sure. But when it was needed, it was like, well, you certified?
Right.
Like, well, this isn't the time. Who cares about certification? So I think that's what I'm coming from to say the Stop the Bleed class, does it...
it doesn't give you... It gives you...
It's knowledge-based.
Yeah. It's the same... It's
knowledge.
The Good Samaritan certification, basically. So if you're applying this in the field or someone else, you're going to fall under the Good Samaritan clause rather than a certification. So,
but folks who are interested, they need to understand you're not obtaining a certification, nor does that give you any protections to use it or not to use it.
Right.
This is literally just a knowledge-based course.
Correct.
For a trauma-based incident.
And I'm going to use that tomorrow when I'm talking about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just, you're just learning how to treat the wounds you're probably going to see. The real life situations that you're probably, what I always talk about, what disaster is going to happen to you? What's the event most likely going to happen to you?
Yeah.
And that's what this is. This is what trauma, what first aid is most likely going to happen in your life, or not necessarily to you, but maybe to others around you that you're going to have to deal with. And that's what this covers.
So wrecks, falls,
yes,
broken bones, sports injuries, all those things.
Yeah. Anytime you have bleeding. So now when it goes back to I have a wilderness first aid certification as well as CPR and all that other stuff too. But, this is probably the most practical as far as saving lives. The other first aid stuff, like a broken ankle, obviously, if it's compound, it's going to go into saving a life. But let's just say it's just a broken ankle. That's not going to kill the person. So that first aid is different than Stop the Bleed, obviously.
Yeah.
But now we get into compound fractures. Let's say we've got, an artery that's spitting out pretty good blood, amount of blood. Now we need a tourniquet. So that's where Stop the Bleed training comes into it.
I was going to share with you. I was recently working a part. I had a role in a case. It was a wreck, and I was watching the body worn camera of the law enforcement officer that was on the scene, and this is my ignorance coming through, right? So I'm not saying anything one way or the other. It just raised the question here to say he was really quick to apply the tourniquet.
Yeah.
Now, I'll share with you, too, my first impression was he applied the tourniquet because it was cool to apply the tourniquet.
Oh, I see.
But now, in all fairness, I don't know what the severity of the injury was.
Yeah. Well, they found out, too, now that with tourniquets, you're better safe than sorry, and you can keep them on for extended periods. So through the war in Afghanistan, they came up with a lot of information, material, and data that says, hey, we were thinking of tourniquets totally wrong. So you no longer put them on and take them off. Years and years ago, even when I was in the military, you put on a tourniquet, every 15 minutes you'd take it off and then tighten it back up. It was...
Let a little blood flow.
Now they're saying just leave it on there. There's been guys that have had tourniquets on for 2 days, and they still keep their limb.
So do you apply it early? Like my thought on that case I was working is, I don't know that he was bleeding that bad. It just seemed to be like, hey, I've got a tourniquet. This is before the fire department, the ambulance arrived, and
if he's gushing blood, I'm going to put it on him. If it's severe enough, I mean, you can look at it and tell if it's pumping, if the blood's pumping, or if it's coming out a pretty good stream, I'm going to put one on.
Yeah.
And then paramedics can take it off but you got maybe 3 minutes before someone can bleed out. Some people, they're
less than that.
30 seconds. Their adrenaline butt dumps, or they have, maybe they're on medication or whatever. Good friend of mine, Chris, he was at Lowe's or like Home Depot, Lowe's, and one of the workers came out, and the worker was in shorts, and he had a cart full of metal roofing, the metal sheeting.
Yeah. And
the cart caught his ankle, his leg, and cut an artery.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And Chris was like, I looked down, and there was blood everywhere. And the guy was like, man, I just now did that. And Chris said, I'll be right back. And he went to his truck as fast as he could and came back. And the guy was about to pass out. And, of course, people were helping him and stuff.
Right.
But he put the tourniquet on him right away. And the paramedics, when they came, they were like, dude, you saved his life. That little sheet metal cut just sliced perfectly. And they said if you hadn't done it, he probably would have bled out.
Which is a good...
Now, Chris is an EMT, so he's familiar with this stuff. But any average person has an understanding of how this works could have done the same thing.
Well, but that highlights the importance of your class and your knowledge that you have that maybe the rest of us don't. Is something as simple as going to Lowe's or Home Depot, and something as naive and as benign as just loading up some sheet metal and you slice your appendage.
Yeah, and the guy had no idea he was going to die. That's what Chris was saying. He's like, I didn't let him know what was going on. He said, I'll be right back. And then, of course, he knew other people were helping him, setting him down and, putting pressure on it and everything. He said, but when he came back, started applying the tourniquet.
Yeah.
He said it was just a pool of blood.
So these skills that you're teaching, right?
Yes.
Are not just, again, you're lost in the woods, or you suffered some sort of trauma in some situation that really 99% of the public are not doing. It actually applies to
everyday life.
And here we are sitting at a hotel doing this podcast, and something could happen here.
Yeah.
And so that knowledge base is there. So I find that really interesting, because it's not a certification. It's a knowledge-based piece of information that you're providing to folks, and it applies to everyday use.
Yes.
Which is when's the next incident happen? What is it? What's the next incident that's going to happen to you?
And anybody who conceals carry or carries, if they're carrying a weapon, they need to be carrying a tourniquet, because more than likely, if you have to use that weapon, something's happened for you to use it. So you're going to need it for yourself, or you're going to need it for someone else. Even as far as maybe the person that you shot, So anytime I carry my concealed carry, I'm carrying a tourniquet too. Like I've got a tourniquet in my backpack in the hotel room.
As we're talking through this, I was proud of my bag, and I am proud of my bag that I have in my truck.
Absolutely.
But I don't know that I have a tourniquet in there.
Yeah. Well,
I will.
The thing too is it's like insurance. They're kind of expensive, and you may never use it. But if you need it, you'd be glad you bought it.
You need it. You need it right then.
Yeah.
As I think about how to apply your knowledge into my day to day, that may be the biggest thing that I have missing. So I've talked about, what if you're in a wreck and I need to make it till tomorrow, or stay warm, until somebody can find me.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have that covered in my bag to say, what if I got injured in that wreck?
Yeah.
Because you could apply that to yourself, right? A tourniquet can be applied.
Yes. Yeah. 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 If you look at a lot of the body cam footages and the war footages from Ukraine and stuff, there's guys applying it to themselves all the time. I mean, that's just instinct to them. They follow that level of training. And there's a really good video of a medic who was getting out of a armored vehicle, and he literally jumped onto a landmine. and blew off his leg. And before the smoke cleared, he was putting a tourniquet on his own leg.
Yeah.
And he crawled back to the armored vehicle, got in, and they took him out. So he lost his leg. It's terrible. But, he's a medic. He's trained. So for him, it was second nature. But that was just such a good example of, following that level of training, and he saved his own life.
I want to come back to, I want to drive this point home, I think. So you don't have to be military to learn this skill.
No.
You don't have to have some certain pedigree or
And that's why I love it. That's why
skill base.
When I learned Stop the Bleed, took the first class, I was in love with it. I'm like, man, everybody should be doing this. Yeah. And then I found out you could be an instructor. I was like, well, heck yeah. I want to share this with everybody legally, be able to share it with them and not just talk about it, but actually teach the class.
Yeah.
And then tell other people, hey, you need to sign up for the class or sign up to be an instructor, because you'll learn more teaching it, and putting yourself on the spot, just like we're doing now.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow I'm going to talk about this is just a piece of knowledge that you need. This
right.
It's not a certification.
That's right.
This is
right.
just a piece of knowledge.
I've always thought that's a barrier for, and I'm not certified. I don't even know if certification exists, but it's still registered in my head because of our earlier trainings many, many, many years ago that said you have to be certified in these things,
right?
To use it. And there was always this downward pressure that are you certified or not?
Right.
And maybe internally I was like, who cares?
Right.
But it existed. Yeah. And so to me, that's part of what this magic is it has nothing to do with the certification. It's just, you need to know this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it could happen to anybody. It could happen at Lowe's or.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's so many more cases of that, I got a lot of friends that are through search and rescue. They're EMTs, paramedics and stuff. And a friend of mine who's a paramedic, he got to a call. It was a hunter in the woods. And I tell this story all the time in Stop the Bleed. And he was climbing up his tree stand, and one of his broadheads from his arrow caught him on the back of the leg, cut his artery.
Oh, wow.
And by the time he climbed down, young kid in his 20s, climbed down the tree stand, he made it about 50 yards towards his truck and died in the field. He bled out.
How about that?
Yeah. So if he had a tourniquet, he could have easily climbed down, put it on, probably went back to the vehicle, maybe drove himself back, maybe called someone or whatever, but more than likely would still have been alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the thing with the tourniquet too is it's not pretty. They hurt. I've never had one on for an emergency, but every video I've seen, and then when I've put the training ones on, they hurt. And that's what you tell your patient is like, this is going to hurt, but it's going to save your life.
Yeah.
And you really have to crank it down to get that blood stopped. And they're going to hate you for it until they live. And then,
right.
and then they're going to love you for it, It's a lot like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I hate jiu-jitsu night. Yeah. But after you're done, you're like, man, that's great.
That's great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sucks going through it.
Yeah. So you've had a busy, I guess, 2024, 25.
Yeah, it's been a lot of changes.
We talked a little bit about with your trainings and stuff, but you have sounds like some stuff on the slate for 2026.
Yes,
or coming up in the next year.
Yes.
Anything you want to plug or promote there for where you're going to be?
So just back to the website. I'm going to focus more on the website, uglytent.com, and also the training. I'm hoping to get out and speak more to groups and churches and get some more of the group not training sessions, the presentations.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Get some real world knowledge based presentations to people that they can use rather than the glamorous, sexy survival stuff you're probably never going to use.
Right. And that email address to find you is?
uglytent@gmail.com.
Yeah, uglytent@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So,
or you can find me on Facebook, Ugly Tent, Instagram, Ugly Tent, YouTube.
The YouTubes.
Yeah, the YouTubes.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot with YouTubes anymore like I used to. And we were discussing that earlier. I'm not sure where I'm going with it because of my health conditions. It's hard for me to go out and camp like I used to. Yeah. I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad that I actually went out in the woods and did everything I wanted to do because I had some amazing adventures. I slept in a hollow log. I camped out in a thunderstorm. I built shelters. I built fireplaces inside of shelters, natural shelters. I mean, I've done all kinds.
That was a great episode, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. I've done some crazy stuff, and I'm so glad I did it then and didn't wait or didn't, push it up, put it off. I'm glad I did it then because now that I can't do it, I'm glad I've got those memories and the videos.
Well, certainly, and you have a knowledge base of, that's another episode we could probably do, but you have a knowledge base of things you can eat in the wild. And
wild edibles are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, especially if my grandmother was really good at it, and I wish I had absorbed that knowledge, but I didn't. I didn't pay attention.
Right.
But she'd go out in the yard and find greens and mushrooms and you name it. And that wasn't even the garden.
Right.
The stuff.
It's out in the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wild edibles there's a lot to that.
Yeah, that's right. What else we need to share?
We've shared quite a bit.
I
love being on this side of the microphone. I love talking to you, and it's just I love being on the podcast. So thank you for having me on.
Oh yeah, we'll do more if you're up for it. I am too.
Yeah, I'm glad. I like the way you steer me too, because you keep me on track. my brain starts chasing squirrels.
Well, there's so much more to talk about. You're an author. Of course, we talked a little bit about your social media presence. You're a presenter. You're a Bible guy.
I'm trying to. I don't want to say. I'm not trying to do away with those. I'm just trying to really dial in what I'm going to be doing. Focus on certain aspects. I have some more books I'd love to write, but I just don't know if I have time to write them right now.
Yeah.
And if I'm focusing on the other stuff, which is important, especially with my new job and doing Ugly Tent. So the job I'm working is it's part-time. It's 100 hours a month.
Sure.
Which allows me the time to do the Ugly Tent. So it's perfect. I feel like I hit the lottery with the job because I'm helping people. It's a good job, but I also get to continue Ugly Tent. But in order to do all that, I'm really going to have to dial it in on Ugly Tent. So.
Yeah. Well, I think what's my perspective of what's important for the listeners that are listening to us is that there's a lot of knowledge that you have.
Thank you.
You're willing to share it.
Absolutely.
It's everyday based knowledge.
Yes.
It fits into whether it's us for professional investigators, or it's the women's group in your local community, or youth, or even in the corporate environment.
Yes.
The knowledge that you have fits. And so I think your classes are interesting because, I've had trainings for a whole career, and at a certain point it feels like it's the same thing, right? How to do this and how to do that. And, I'm so mission based or mission focused type of trainings. And so for us to have you here, really just expands it into things that we didn't think were important. And I would challenge whoever's listening to this to say, Kenny fits into your organization. And, you don't have to quite understand how he fits. You just need to know that his knowledge that he's going to share with you does fit. And, it's not a pointless training. It's just not one of those things that I'm starting to ramble a little bit myself.
No, I like it. Keep going. I'm going to use you as a commercial. Yes. This is great.
It's not one of those things that you're just filling time with. You'll actually take away tangible pieces of knowledge that you can apply, whether you're the soccer mom, taking kids to the game, or who knows where. It's the whole idea, right? You don't know where your next emergency is going to come from and what's going to happen to you. So if that's interesting to you, then I would strongly suggest you check him out at uglytent.com or his email at uglytent@gmail.com.
Yes.
Get a hold of him. Have knowledge will travel.
Yes. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's, I think you'll be pleased with it. So,
well, thank you again for having me on.
Yeah, man. It's been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's go do something else. Want to?
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Thanks you so much for listening to Jude the Podcast. We appreciate every download, everything that you guys give for us, the show. Appreciate your support. And until next time.